I do, y'all. So it got cold last night. That was not expected. It was supposed to be nice today, so that meant that it quit raining and the skies cleared up, and I guess that let the cold in. The farmer in.
Liddell.
The farmer in.
Liddell.
Hi-ho, da dirty do, the farmer in.
Liddell.
Well, we're going to do our best to get something done today. I'm going to impersonate a cat burglar because, as you can see, there is no door. Hopefully, that changes by the end of the day. Okay, so first things first, let's get the siding that goes all the way around the door and down far enough to get the channel, track, rail, whatever it's called. I believe they call it a square rail, but for the barn door thing that we're going to put on here, I might just go all the way down depending on how fast and easy. The siding should go on pretty quick. Once we get around the door, we should have at least a piece or two before we get to the window, and then one more piece after that. So let's just say that's our goal. We're going to get the bottom row of siding on today, and hopefully a door. But until the door's on, I'm not going to cut the vapor barrier out because that's the only thing stopping the critters. Not that they probably can't get in there anyway, weasel their way underneath, but I'm doing my best. All right, let's get after it. To get that Carhartt off. It's insulated and it's getting a little too warm for that. It's not quite t-shirt weather, but it's definitely not insulated Carhartt weather. So we'll get the rest of this put across the top here. It looks silly because it's so small, but after that we get all the way across. We'll put the little Z flashing on there, and at that point I'll probably take all this, the rest of this old siding off, put more vapor barrier up above. I just haven't done that yet because, well, it's been pouring down rain. And yeah, I could do it right now, but I got to stick to my goal. Let's get this siding on the front. After that, we'll pull the old stuff off and put more vapor barrier up. And then the header panel that will act kind of like a rim joist for the roof of the carport. But we're getting ahead of ourselves. Today, we're just trying to get the paneling up. And then we'll go from there. I gotta keep focused. Just the paneling for now. I know putting that up with nails would be faster, using an air nailer and all that. But if you know the backstory to this, you'll understand why I'm leaning towards screws for pretty much everything. Maybe it is t-shirt weather. Alright, so I've got like little wedges and stuff that I'm having to set up like blocks to hold the plywood up since I'm doing this by myself. But this concrete here was just actually an overpour from when they did the sidewalk around the house. So it's tapered that way and this way, pretty severely that way actually. But anyway, I'm just kind of blocking it up, and that's why I'm always rocking the plywood back and forth, just to try and get that top corner right. And then I'm checking it for level and having to fudge it a little bit because this building isn't perfect. And yeah, I built that wall, but I also had to kind of go up against what was already there. So it ain't perfect, but again, that's what Liddell calls rustic, and I like it. So I did a short here a couple days ago calling it a pro tip. That's kind of a vague term, but although I used to frame houses like, 30 years ago, I wouldn't consider myself a pro by any stretch of the imagination. So that was more of a pun than anything. But anyway, just because it's the way I did it, don't make it right, but it does make it done. This is how my brain works. We're 2 sheets away, which would be called a win. So a little bit of a play on words would be we're 2 sheets from a win. Kind of like 2 sheets in the wind, but totally different. Okay, if I'm honest, that sounded way funnier in my head, and then it came out of my mouth. Yeah. 32, 26, 4. on that side though. Don't cut it off the wrong side. That would, wait, yeah. Whew. That would suck. All right, the next one I got to cut a little mousy hole for the where the electrical goes in. Yeah, because I don't want to shut the power off and disconnect the wires, and then that would have been the right way of doing it. There's a sub panel in the garage that I shouldn't have reconnected until I got that put in, but I did. We'll get the whole thing cut out and then I'll decide what to do. Okay, so what I did is I measured it all out from the top and the bottom and then over and blah, blah, blah. And I used a hole saw, and it's a little bit oversized to buy me a little bit of cheap. And then I just cut it to the top. And oh wow, the sun is really fighting here. And then I cut it down here, put it back in there, and then I still need to put a couple of screws along the bottom here. But anyway, we'll do her like that, and then just caulk it up real good. And when it gets painted, pretty much all that'll disappear. As I've already said, I achieved my goal for the day of getting the panels up, or the siding up, all the way down. So now we're going through and putting Z flashing across the top so that, you know, the water comes down, and then a little bit on top of that. And then at this corner right here, that's where the 2x6 header panel will start. And then I'm going to put all the roofing on and everything, build the carport out, and then I'm going to put a piece of flashing on top of the roof that's like an L shape, so it'll come off the building down onto the carport, and then I'm going to put the siding over that, so that way everything spills further, you know, as it comes down it goes out. But anyway, yeah, hanging that vapor barrier by myself was a chore. It probably would have been kind of entertaining for you guys, but it was super frustrating for me just the way it was. So yeah, that didn't get filmed. Anyway, I'm going to go as far as I can and get this stuff done, but the camera light, battery light is flashing, so I probably won't get much more tonight, but I'll bring you back as soon as I get another battery or it's another day. Well, I got the 12-inch pieces almost all the way across to down at the far end down there. I've still got to do the funky cut like this one. But yeah, I tell you what, the sun goes behind that mountain, it gets cold fast. The dew's setting on everything, and I had to wrap up what little bit of the new stuff. So it's time to clean up. It ain't dark yet, but man, it's cooling off fast. Had to. Well, it's a new day, and as you can see, I'm wearing my Carhartt again, so it's cold. Anyway, we'll get back on the front of the shop here, or the garage, or whatever we're calling it, and see how much further we can get today. Quick little shout out to my brother. He gave me a air hose reel. He wasn't using it anymore, so When they moved to their new place and had it built, then he didn't have a need for it. So I think I'm going to hang that probably somewhere up in this area here. And right next to it, I'll do an extension cord one. Okay, hopefully, this is the last time. There we go. Last time I have to use this as my doorway. Somewhere in here is that recoilable extension cord thing that I was just talking about. I don't know where it's at. Buried. I'm so looking forward to being able to organize this whole thing. There it is. I found it. Yay! Okay, now, so for today's goals, we're going to take those rollers in that track with these 2x4s and more of this siding, and we're going to make that door. So step one, we got to cut this extra little lip off so that it's just flush on the end. I'll set you up on a tripod and we'll get after it. Here we go. It's not supposed to rain today. It's really not. If this rain picks up much more, we're going to have to move the camera inside. So we'll see how it goes. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, round 3. As soon as I turn it back on, it's going to rain again, I think. But anyway, here we go. Okay, so that's got the whole thing framed. I'm going to put another brace going the length of it through the middle, and then obviously because it's 2 4-foot pieces of siding, I'm going to have to put a couple more verticals on there just to nail everything together or screw it together. But for right now, what I'm going to do is mark where these guys go. I'm going to put them a foot in on each side, and then I've got to drill a hole for these things to countersink in. And now it rains again. Had some 1.5-inch rigid foam, styrofoam or whatever, so I'm going to stick this in the cells in between, and then we'll put OSB over the top of it. And I'm going to have to try and support this in because the camera doesn't really pick it up, but the whole thing's kind of warped a little bit. I don't want to screw it together warped, but we'll do our best to get it flat. We're doing what we can. Before I go too much further, I'm going to have to cut these off. They're just a little bit above. That won't let the OSB sit down, so we're gonna have to cut those off. All right, we finally got this stinking door put up. Let me show you all the things that we had to do. Okay, so there it is, closed. Good grief. So once I got it all done, I drilled a hole right on top of here so that I could adjust this to get that gap in, put the handle on. Watch it, watch it. Ooh. Yeah, buddy. So I don't know if I can show you from underneath here. Good grief, apparently not. Right? Yeah, right there. I had to put a shim in, and that shim allowed it. Get back out here. That shim allowed that gap to be between the building and the door. So there was a couple of things that was going on. It was rubbing up against the Z flashing, and it was a little bit too close to the concrete down there. So what I ended up doing, sorry about that, the old battery died. Anyway, what we ended up doing was spacing that thing out, cutting a little bit off the bottom of the door. I got it put up, and then I took the lag bolts out and I put some structural screws in there. They're like GRKs or RG. They're structural screws. They're big old long hung-a-jungers. Anyway, so we got all that done. The door closes nice, and now it's dark. So that's what we'll end this one. Thanks for coming and taking a look at what we're doing, keeping an eye on everything, and God bless.